Alright, this is the one build that I have that's at meta level. It's at 150, I guess. So my other builds are either 200 or they're at like level 80 or 90. I don't really do a whole lot in between here. The main reason is just because like 80% of the invasions you go in, it's just somebody about to fight a boss, so it's just a little bit irritating. But either way, this is like a Charred Knight, loosely inspired by the knights that fight with you during the old Ivory King boss fight in the Dark Souls 2 DLC, which is a really cool boss fight. If you haven't played Dark Souls 2, you just check out that boss fight on YouTube or something. It's pretty cool, and I think might be kind of an inspiration or something that kind of eventually led to the Leda boss fight at the end of the DLC. I won't spoil that for you if you haven't seen it, but just know it's very cool. So loosely inspired by that, just thematically anyways. So I've got, the armor to make myself kind of look like a Charred Knight. Most of the weapons are fire infused that I have, except for a couple. You need one or two that are not in case you're fighting in water. Your defense is much higher when you're in water, or your fire defense specifically is much higher when you're in water. And that happens in PvP as well, so you want to have one weapon that's not fire, ideally, just in case. But anyways, this is a really fun setup. This is the first time I've ever used the dueling shield, and I didn't like two-handing it, but I found it really great as an offhand thing, especially using something like a Great Spear. This is the Mesmer Soldier Great Spear that you farm from the Mesmer Soldiers in the DLC. Because it's kind of slow, but it has really good range, and the little quick attack there with the shield strike attack with the dueling shield is pretty quick, but doesn't have great range. They pair really well together, and there's probably a bunch of other great combinations as well, but that's the one that I was having a lot of fun with. And then I've got the Fire Knight Greatsword here. You get this by farming the Fire Knights in the Shadow Keep in the DLC. You've got to farm the ones that have this sword specifically. Some of them have the dual daggers instead, so if you farm them, you get daggers. You won't get this Colossal Sword. This is a really nice sword. It's got the Zweihander moveset. I know that's not exactly how you say that, but chill out, will you? Alright, so it's got the Zweihander moveset, which means you get the thrusting attack with the R2. There's other Colossal Swords that have that as well, the Gold Control Sword and a couple others, but it's really nice. Those other swords are pretty short, so the Zweihander is more the one of choice. It's also one of the lightest it is the lightest Colossal Sword. So this one is kind of more in line with the Zweihander, but it's got a little bit of innate fire damage on it. So that is to say, it's pretty nice, and would recommend using it. Giant's Hunt is a great pairing for it. And then we switch over to Sword and Board here. You see a bunch of different weapon combinations throughout this video, more than I usually show. Usually I just have one or two for the character that I'm using. But in this case, I was just using all of the different kind of knightly type weapons. So I guess Sword and Board, a curved greatsword, we got the Colossal Sword. I've got a couple other things. I did some invasions with the Great Mace. I had Eruption on that, and it worked pretty well. I don't know if any of those made it into the video, but a lot of different weapons and pretty easy build to to play around with. It's just a strength build. If you infuse weapons with fire, they just get strength scaling. It's not quite as good as like a heavy infusion for a pure strength build, especially because fire is the one element that people usually have the highest damage negation for, so it's just nice to have that backup option for whenever you need it, whenever you're in the water. We've got a guy with a dangerous setup here. He's got the full Rakshasa armor, so that's giving him more damage across the board. He's got the dual Nagakibas, lots of reach, good damage, counterattack damage, bleed damage, and the running attacks are definitely the attacks you want to be using there. So he kind of knows what he's doing there. Unfortunately, he leaves his teammate behind a little bit here. So this is a little bit reminiscent of what's been happening in Night Rain over the last 2 days. People not really sticking together, but that's alright. It's a learning process. And hopefully this guy learned real good when I did a jumping front flip and pancaked him on the ground. But, maybe not. And for all I know, they were in a chat and he was telling his friend to follow him, and he just didn't time the separation well. I don't know. So back to the curved greatsword here. This thing is really nice. Comparing it to the other curved greatswords, I think this is one of the best strength scaling curved greatswords. I think the Beastman Cleaver, the one that you gotta farm from the big guys in Farum Azula, the area that I'm at right now in this clip, I think that one probably has better strength scaling, but I think it's also by far the heaviest. I have this one heavy infused. This is one of the weapons that I mentioned before. I have some that are not fire infused. This is one of the ones. It's good to make sure one of your powerful weapons is one of the ones that's not fire infused, so that you actually have a good option when you need to use it. Now, of course, I'm not in the water here. I didn't need to be using this weapon here, but it was just fun, and I wanted to see if I could land some Lion's Claw attacks. It's a little tough to land Lion's Claw, and you leave yourself really vulnerable to it. So if someone just kind of walks around you, like you can avoid Lion's Claw without even dodging if you know just how to kind of sidestep it. And if you do that, you basically get a free backstab on the person who's doing the attack. Now, there is a little bit of a mix-up there with the addition of Savage Lion's Claw. Because Savage Lion's Claw has a follow-up attack where you do kind of a second and third flip, I guess. And on the second flip, you do a small amount of damage, but I think you could stun people. And then you do another big slam on that third flip. So if someone comes in to backstab you and then you go to do the follow-up because it's Savage Lion's Claw, then I think you're probably going to catch them. So it's a little bit of like a 50-50 proposition that you're putting people in. I haven't really used Savage Lion's Claw much. I don't know exactly if it works like that, but I do know that when I'm fighting Promised Consort Radahn, that's how it works for me. He does his Lion's Claw, and okay, that's an easy punish. We'll hit him as soon as he lands. But then sometimes you go to strike him, and then he does the second part of that Savage Lion's Claw, and you really got to scramble to dodge that thing on time. So I think if we can put people in a similar mix-up like that, that would be good. So I probably should switch to Savage Lion's Claw, but Lion's Claw does a lot more damage with just the base flip. And what I like about it is one-shotting people, or like getting the kill with it, just pancaking them against the ground. And if I have a better chance of actually finishing them off with the flip, I don't know, it's just funnier, so I like to do that. Back to this combination here, though. This thing is really nice. I didn't try any other combinations with this dueling shield, and this is the regular dueling shield. It's not the carry-in dueling shield that everyone loves. That one requires a little bit of intelligence, and this character is dumb as fuck. Like, he can't even tie a sheet. He's literally got Velcro greaves. But that's besides the point. So he's got the dueling shield, no intelligence required, and no intelligence will be used. You just swing that thing around relentlessly, and you'll catch people because no one really expects you to swing swing a shield at them. And I don't know, the element of surprise is very valuable in a game like this. Now, speaking of very valuable, this is why you got to keep the jar cannon on you with most builds, even if you don't have the stats to use it, even if you can't use it without heavy rolling, just for situations exactly like this. These people are sitting out in the Lake of Rot. They want me to come to them. I'm not going to come to them. You're going to come to me. And the jar cannon is what is going to make that happen. And the blast on it kind of knocks people into the water, so that's really nice as well. So we're back to the sword and board. So you know what that means. We're looking for a parry here. We always got the dagger talisman on when I'm using this sword. And this sword gets a natural critical hit boost. This is the Lordsworn straight sword. But of course, if you're doing more of a dexterity build, and you want to do like a lightning thing or something like that, then you want to go with the Noble's slender sword. And to do that, all you have to do is find the enemies that have it, and then kill them like 7,000 times, because the drop rate is so low, and then you will have a Noble's slender sword, which also has the critical hit buff. It's longer and lighter as well, and it's got good dexterity scaling. So still with the sword and board here, and one thing I want to start doing a little bit more is guard countering. On very rare occasions, I will... Yeah, see, I don't know why I was going to use the two-handed sword talisman there. I'm not going to two-hand a straight sword, but switched over to the dagger talisman. Sorry, what was I going to say there? On very rare occasions, I'll throw out a guard counter, because with a straight sword, a guard counter is fairly quick. You can try it with like a hammer. I mean, you can try it with anything, but like a rapier, you want to try it with a quicker... Did you see that guy running there? I have no idea what he was doing, but he was excited nonetheless. He was pumped for Night Rain. That's what was going on there. So Anyways, though, I want to start doing some more guard counters with shields. So I've got the halberd here. The halberd this is a really nice halberd. This is the Knight Rider's Glaive. This thing hits like a truck. Of the infusible halberds, I believe this one is the strongest one. Let's go to dexterity, then you want the Guardian's Sword Spear. But for strength or fire infusion, in this case, it's definitely this one right here. Although I will say, you can definitely still make a case for like the Banished Knight Halberd or something, just because of the moveset. You can just you can still infuse it with strength. The weapon requirements are very low, so you can use Banished Knight Halberd on pretty much any build, and those pokes are great. I think people who play PvP know that a lot of the best weapons in this game are very unassuming. So, I see this guy, he's got the big anvil hammer. Like, I don't care about that. But when I see someone pull out, like, a clean wrought knight sword, or, a shamshear, or something like that, that's when I, have to sit up straight a little bit. That's when I know, okay, this person is here to play. And Banished Knight Halberd is in that category as well. Very simple, very unassuming, but great. But damage-wise, and if you're playing PvE and trying to kill bosses, this is the halberd that you want to be using on a strength build every day. Now, the moveset it doesn't have the poking moveset, it's got the slamming moveset. It's a lot harder to hit people with that in PvP. But, man, look how badass it looks. It looks, it matches this character so well. Just very cool, and it does have really good range. So on the running attack, look at that strafe. That was nice. That's something that you could do with weapons that have a really slow wind-up, and just the arc of the swing when you're using that kind of weapon one-handed, it feels like it comes a little bit more from the top, so you can kind of strafe it a little bit better. This guy, look how many times he tries to cast a spell before he realizes that he's out of FP. And then we get smoked by the ballista. I think that did more damage to me than it did to the host, which is crazy, because it looks like he has less armor than I have. Although, if he has the Dragon Crest talisman on, that's really powerful against PvE, and maybe that was it. So there's roll catching for you. If you didn't know what roll catching is, that was it. So this is the build. It's just a strength build. I've got a little bit of faith. That's just for like Flame Grant Me Strength and throwing rocks and stuff. Two-handed sword talisman is pretty crucial on this build. Maybe not crucial, but it's very good on this build. 10% more damage while you're two-handing your weapon. So unless you're going sword and board, it's not a must-have, but very good. Here's a look at the weapons that I used. Like I said, it's mostly fire-infused, and that's pretty much the build. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks, y'all.